Hi there, Constance Messmer here. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of my podcast. The lessons in the show are meant to build one upon the other. I know many of my video students are wondering, when are we going to get to the more advanced stuff, like the nuances of mediumship, the basics of clairvoyance and clairaudience, and how to move my auric field, and what about us empaths, things like this. Well, you'll be happy to know that soon we will be creating a new playlist called the Soul Awareness Masterclass, where my more advanced students will have the opportunity to jump ahead. These videos will be more detailed in video and audio presentation, which means that the many earlier episodes, including the one you're about to watch and hear, is more of an auditory experience. As always, I hope you enjoy our time together, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so glad you're back and ready to join me for another session. I wonder how your week has gone. Have you been meditating and training for the psychic development and the soul spiritual development and connecting with the various realms and a deeper sense of self? I'm hoping you put all that I taught you last week into practice. Do you remember in The Karate Kid when he was having to wash on, wash off? And little did he know later, these would be skills that he would use in defense and working his karate. That is a little bit of what you had to go through last week. You are not going to know how important those two types of meditation are, those visualization techniques, until you need them throughout this whole spiritual practice. One is the ability to sit in stillness and kind of control your energy and pull it back into your own personal space so that you can work with your energy and work with your, your thoughts and feelings to the best of your ability and master that, be an energy master, if you will, of all that. And then the other one was the relaxation techniques in releasing and letting go of tension at various points in your body. These are going to be incredibly helpful. Wash on, wash off. You're going to need these. So I do hope you're listening to these lessons in chronological order. And I'm so glad you've joined me for another session. I know last week I often referred to the brain as a muscle, and you know it's not a muscle, it's an organ. But I work it like a muscle. I give rigorous psychic soul workouts so that you can strengthen your ability of perception. And the mind is going to be a very important part of that toolbox, part of that skill set that you work to sharpen and hone so that you can be able to use it to the best of your ability. So each week and each day, actually, I want you to keep working with those two forms of meditation that I taught last week, the sitting in stillness and the just checking in on areas of your body that need to be released, especially with the sitting in stillness, because what that will do is allow you to kind of master your mind, if you will, especially when you're not thinking. The goal is just breathing in, breathing out, and just focusing on the breath and not letting your stray thoughts come in and intervene with your stillness practice. This is really important. So the homework for the rest of this week is going to be more of that, more of the same. But today I want to talk to you about some important spiritual components about you. Now, this is all my opinion, but it comes from years of study and I don't know, take it if you will, but this is what I'm teaching. In my opinion, your spiritual practice, your daily spiritual practice should be inclusive of a meditation and also cleansing and clearing your blocks and energy field and emotional content. And then lastly, a quest for truth in this life. I think we're all on a journey. I think one of the goals is to learn, and another goal is to help in ways that we're called to help. And usually that not just anything, but usually what that means is living out our talents, and that in sharing those talents become our best possible life. I'm not saying you're not supposed to get paid for what you do. I'm not saying that at all. But I think we're here to love and learn and share our gifts and interrelate with others. So the funny one that I mentioned was that middle one, that cleanse and clear.
it's important. You know how we shower our physical body on a regular basis, wash our hair and everything? It's really important to look at our energy body and our spiritual body and our our psychological content, if you will, our psychological being. Your psychological constitution is often from your upbringing, your parents, your education, your personal experiences in life. And so it's up to you to kind of process through those and sort out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Um, what are your own beliefs and your values? And how do you want to live your best life as you're processing through any psychological content that you have? You also have incredible cosmic connections, to yourself, to each other, to the people in your family, to the nation that you live in, maybe even the gamut of people that you work with or the town, people around you. It's always fascinating to me to think about these are my cohorts. Goodness, we're all going to grow old together, In my opinion, I love astrology in that it really gives us some clues. To me, it's kind of the Rosetta Stone for the human psyche. I encourage you to get your astrology chart done if you haven't already. It's beautiful information to help guide you. Usually the sticky stuff are where we need to work our lessons, but it's also where our power is hidden. It has helped me knowing mine. I remember when I was in my 20s and I got my very first astrology read by the most beloved Barbara Ivacek, who's on the other side. I said to her, "Oh my God, it's like you followed me my whole life." Not only could she read the information, she was very intuitive, and really was a blessing on my journey to have that content. So having a good astrologer is helpful. It helps me to look at some of my hangups or where I have hard times or where I can, you know, um, just what lessons need to be learned. I've told you before in this podcast segment, I'm on a Saturn return, and it was a doozy. My first one was a doozy. It's all in my first house. It's who I am. It's boundaries, stuff like that. But knowing that that's what was going on these last 2 weeks was really helpful. I think otherwise I would have been like, "Oh my God, what the heck?" You know, as we know, nothing's lasting, really, except love, really, in my opinion. Um, and so this too shall pass. But it's just been helpful understanding the astrological connection in my life. I'm sure some of you are people that follow enneagrams or numerology. Things like this are also helpful. These are just ways to find out your content in this life. When I speak to cleanse and clear, what I mean is to just keep processing, just keep processing, just keep processing, being mindful, working on yourself, knowing what are your triggers, what causes you anger, uh, what causes the ugly stuff, and looking back. Is it something from your childhood, your youth, or is it the inability to speak up for yourself or put yourself first when you need to have your needs met and you just let people walk all over you? And it's no longer an act of selflessness, it's an act of just like self-defeat, overburdened and overwhelmed, and then all of a sudden you're overindulging in whatever your addiction might be when you self-soothe. So cleansing and clearing is important, and I don't just mean on just an energetic front like you learn in Reiki, where you learn to shift your energy. And yes, I'll get into that more later. But really just cleansing and clearing so that you can do your best to start each day fresh. I love the AA programs out there. I think they do the moral inventory, not even just at a certain parts of their process work, but also, at the end of the day, a lot of fine people do it. You don't have to be an AA, but you just looking at the end of your day and kind of taking into account, where do you need to maybe make amends, or where do you need to look at certain areas to try to do better. My problem is with food. I go to food comfort world, and so I always have to sort that. So I'm like, "Oh, look at you. You really want sugar. What is going on with you?" And so, my cleanse and clear of my emotional content and my psychological stuff is flagged when I want to go towards self-soothing practices. And really what I need to do is self-healing things, like go for a walk or a run, or go sit and meditate on the beach or in the woods, or with a cozy cup of tea or whatnot. Listen to beautiful music, dance. These are not, for me, escape things. Sometimes they're just moments to relax, to get grounded, so that then I can look and do the soul searching to say, what is coming up for you? What do you need to look at so you can move on from and release? And I invite you to do the same. So in my opinion, a really good spiritual practice includes those three things: meditation daily, to kind of just sit in mindfulness, and cleansing and clearing. Like, what do I need to let go of? What am I still holding on to? And then also your quest for truth. And to me, what that means is always wanting to know what's really happening here. What's my truth? What's my truth in this life? And as we embark on this spiritual, psychic unfolding journey together, strengthening together, I definitely want you to have the quest for truth paramount and forefront. It's what's going to carry you and give you ultimate fulfillment, really, is that always wanting to go to the highest truth. And of course, when working with other people or talking to other people, you have to consider what's their truth in this situation. Sometimes you come at things and you're like, you think we're on the same page, and then you're totally not on the same page. So it's always good to discern truth from one another when you're having connection and conversation. The same is going to be true going forward. With the work, I call all that I do the work. Even when it's for myself, it's the work of my soul's awareness. It's discerning the truth, like the ultimate truth. What's the truth here? Sometimes I ask spirit some questions and they're like, we're not going to tell you. I'm like, why? And they're like, you're not ready. I'm like, oh gosh, come on. And then they say you couldn't handle the truth, which I get. Sometimes I get that. So when I speak of the truth, it's knowing what's your truth, but what's another person's truth if you're working with another. But what's the ultimate truth? What's the real story? This is really about what's the highest truth? What's the highest good? What's the highest knowing? Those are the truths I want to share and connect with and understand. You have been listening to Soul Awareness with Constance Messmer. And the reason why I do this is because I know you can do this. I know you can. And so I'm grateful that you're staying with me for the lessons. There will be more to expound upon and more to teach you, a lot of my secrets, a lot of things from my toolkit. And I'm just really grateful that you're listening and that you're interested. And I promise you, what you learn here will help you deepen your own spiritual practice, whether you just want to communicate with God or know how you are as an empath moving through the world, or how to communicate with other realms of spirit, or just to have a more fulfilled life and be able to navigate your world a bit better with more information as you learn to live from your own soul awareness. So thanks for tuning in. You can totally do this. Legally speaking, this podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for medical diagnosis, treatment, or the advice of a physician, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. You should not use this information to diagnose or treat a health problem or condition. Always check with your doctor.
Thank you for joining us today. If you've enjoyed this episode of Soul Awareness with Constance Messmer, we'd like to encourage you to continue your spiritual journey with this next episode.